Hey, how's everybody doing out there? This is the Political Brown Kid here, and I'm back again with another video. This one, once again, on dating, relationships, male-female relationships, or lack thereof. And today I'm going to be responding to a video from a lady named Helena Pascal. She has a YouTube channel, seems relatively popular. She seems to talk about dating and relationships. She has a relatively good channel. Of course, some things I disagree with her on. Of course, you're not going to agree with everything everyone says. And again, she's coming at it from a female perspective. So I do appreciate her for doing that, because now we get, you get the other side of the coin. And I think she delivers her content in a relatively non-judgmental manner. Unlike, you see some people that go so far to one extreme or to the other. Like you'll see some women saying, forget all men, or particularly forget all black men. And then you see some guys saying, forget all women, or forget all black women, or forget all American women, and let's just go overseas. She kind of gives it to you right down in the middle. And I think that she at least critiques both sides, or tries to do so. And she provides her own perspective. So again, her name is Helena Pascal. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. And the video that I'm responding to is that she did a video on, it's an age-old topic. I've covered it on my channel. CNN has covered the topic. A lot of news media, there's been articles written on, men and women being in relationships and men not. Women, 60% of women being in relationships, 30% of men saying that they have been in relationships, and just why is it that young men aren't in relationships? So Helena provides her opinions on the subject matter, and I'm going to respond to the video. And I'm breaking it down into 4 parts. So the first part she kind of talks about is going to be on, well, maybe 5 parts. I think I did it on 5 parts. The first part that she talks about is on her theory on why men are single. And again, this video is in response to the topic of, there was an article months ago, probably even years ago, or a year ago, about 30% of men being single, 60% of women, or 30% of men being in relationships. So that means 70% of men are just single, and then 60% of women being in relationships, meaning only 40% of women being single. So she provides her theory on why men are single, and here it is right here.
Why are so many good men single? CNN has reported there are over 34% single women, but over 63% single men. I think it's because of education. More women, over 70% of women, are going on to get their college degrees. And less than 41% of men of all races are going to college to get an education. Then we have the issue of a lot of single men, and I do say a lot of single men are not going to church, so they're not really making marriage a priority. So when it comes to dating, people are dating. They're meeting people, they're hooking up with people, they're having casual relationships, but to be in committed relationships where you can change that single to married is what the issue is. And so if women are outranking men when it comes to college education, so even if she's looking for someone, she's looking for someone that can match her education and her financial status. So if she's coming out of college, maybe making anywhere from $50,000 to $60,000, that's a decent income. So she has the education, she has the income, and then especially for young adults, if a man is not going to college and he's still trying to figure out what he wants to do, picking up a trade and just starting to build his career, he may not be matching her income, and he may not be matching that education status. And so some women young are dating older. They're dating older men that have more financial stability in her eyes. This is just an opinion.
So now that you've heard her say that, I just wanted to point out 2 things. I'm going to comment. This is what I got from just that short clip. She says that more educated, the reason why men are single is because women are more educated and they're financially better off. So therefore, I guess, their standards go up. And she's definitely correct on that. There's some words that I generally hate using. And I'll tell y'all what they are right now. I hate the word narcissist. I hate the word fit, feminine, friendly. I hate the word feminism. I hate the word alpha male. And I hate the word hypergamy. But I will say this, that word hypergamy fits right here because women are. Once a woman becomes more educated and she becomes financially better off, she tends to think that, really she doesn't need a man but for one thing, and that's pleasure. She doesn't need you to help her pay her bills, even though sometimes women like to keep what they like more. So of course they would want somebody who's going to help them, help them keep more of what they have. But for the most part, a woman is like, I don't need to deal with, if she feels as though a man is beneath her, and trust me, I've encountered that where women think they're smarter than you, women think that they make more money or better than you. They typically don't want to deal with you. And then if they do deal with you, they're going to make your life miserable. All you're going to hear is, continual jabs. They're going to throw continual jabs and insults at you about, you don't know how to do this, and you don't know how to do that. What? You don't know this, and what? Oh, I've been here, and everything's going to become like what they know and what you don't know. And so either eventually the man is going to get tired of hearing that, and he's going to fade out of the relationship, or the woman is going to tired of always being better than him, and she's going to move on to a guy that she deems better, or she's just going to say, well, shoot, I don't need this. I can do bad on my own, and all I want is a pretty boy that's just going to come over and, cuddle, be my little plaything and be my eye candy, and she's going to keep it moving. That's just my experience, and this is just where I differ from her. I agree with what she's saying, but I'm providing a little bit different context. Women now are just after playthings. They're after boy toys because they have everything else, that they can provide everything else that they need. The second part that what she says, and this is where I disagree with her, is that she says men are not going to church, so they are not making marriage a priority. The reason why I differ with her on this is because men have never really been into the church. Back in the day, yeah. But I think men, and I'm not going to try and get into the thought process of men, but I can tell you even with my grandfather, he really didn't go to church. And, my grandfather was born probably in the 20s. Men, we're kind of more realist, not to try and say that God isn't real, but we tend to operate in what we can see, feel, hear, and touch. And we kind of tend to be a little bit more rationalized. We try and rationalize the intangibles. And, we kind of look at things and we look at the way the world is, and then we look at what the Bible's saying that God is, and it doesn't reconcile with us. So, really church was just a thing. I think that, if you see a man going, not to say that he's not into church or into God, but you're not going to find too many men that are like sunken into that belief. And I think also too, you're going to find is that, education and religion have an inverse relationship. The more educated you get, and this has been a documented proof, or at least a study done on it, the more educated you get, the less likely it is that you start believing in God. The higher that you become either an atheist or spiritual, you become either spiritual or atheist. You don't become like a devout Christian or devout this or devout that. You kind of tend to move away because you start, once again, rationalizing the way that the world is, and you start comparing it to what the Bible or what other books say that God is, and it doesn't reconcile. So that's why I differ, because even though men aren't in the church, men are always looking for relationships. It's just that women, once again, what women fail to realize is men have become invisible to women. And this is where Helena's proving that my theory to be correct. She's saying that, yeah, men aren't going to church, so they're not prioritizing marriage. No, it's just that the men that you want, the men that you're looking at, it's just like that other lady that was on TikTok that made a video that said, me and my girlfriends go out all the time and we don't see any men. Where are the men at? We went to all of these functions. There ain't no men there. There were men there. You can't tell me that you went to an all-girl function and not one man showed up. Not one. Outside of the waiter, outside of the bartender, outside of the DJ, outside of the band members, outside of anybody working. You can't tell me that it was just an all woman's function. The only way that is humanly possible or probable that that would happen, that no man would show up to a function, if it was a ladies only function. If it was specifically the event said this is for AKAs or some sorority or for some all girls event and men were banned. There were men there. She just didn't like the men that were there. And they were so insignificant that she didn't even recognize them. Trust me, this is coming from a man who's invisible to women, because I fit in the same category. Women are, being an average looking man and possibly even below average looking, I'll say that because obviously these women aren't finding me attractive. We are invisible to women. And there was even a post in the YouTube where we was in doing posts to one of the videos, and a white guy even stated the same thing. He said we're invisible to our women too. And I don't know what he looked like, but even he's invisible to women. And so it just becomes to a point where, like, and trust me, I've been on several dating apps, been on all of them. And when you're invisible, and when even heavy set women with serious weaves and serious makeup on don't want to like you back, and when those women even have criteria that you have to have a six-pack and be built like Hercules, then you of course you're not going to get any play. So I disagree with her. Men are, just because we're not in the church, that's not saying that we're not marriage minded or relationship minded. And especially once you get into your 40s, I'm in my 40s, then you start looking at it differently. It's like, okay, well, I've been married, I've got my kids, got my ex, I got my kids. I'm not planning on having any more kids because I'm in my 40s. If I meet a woman and I'm dating a woman and she's in her 40s, not unless I'm dating a woman in her 20s and she doesn't have kids and I plan on having kids again, I'm not looking to get married. I don't even know if I'm just looking for a life partner at this point. I already have my stuff, and what I have is going to be willed to my kids. It's not going to be willed to somebody I'm just meeting in my 40s or 50s. It's going to be willed to my kids. Pretty sure she wants her stuff to go to her heirs. Why am I getting married? So we're probably looking, so when my age group, you're looking for life partners. The younger group, is she speaking to those? It's not that they're not looking for marriage. It's just that younger people, if you look at them, they're not into church as much. So I think that I disagree with her on that. And again, I think also too is because they only see certain men. They only see the men that they want to see. So let's get into the next clip. In this next clip, she's going to be talking about fit, friendly, and feminine.
They want the woman to be fit, friendly, and feminine, and all these different qualities that they think of when they think of a woman. She has zero incentive to do that. So we are seeing more women that are overweight. They're not taking care of their physical appearance. They are definitely taking care of their education. And if they do take care of their physical appearance, they are almost doing a lot of procedures to just kind of give them that look, but just to be just genuinely healthy, just working out, they don't have the incentive. I've asked women, why are you not exercising, but like, why should I lose weight if he's only going to be able to perform for 5 minutes?
Okay, so you heard what she said. And so I'm going to comment on two things here. One thing I agree with her on, and she said it as a kind of like casually in passing, as if it wasn't a major point. And I'm not down on her for that. It's just that she was talking and she was emphasizing something else. But something she said was very important. Something Helena said was, I think, an important thing to bring up. And it's a whole topic onto its other self. Is that she said it in passing. And what she said was that women are having cosmetic procedures rather than lifestyle changes. That is so true. The reason why I said that's true and important is because you always hear men, because when you watch these shows, even when I watch like shows like Kendra G's show, I think she does a great show. When you listen to these women in these forums, they always talk about men and they always talk about how a man looks. I even did a video. Y'all can look on my channel. You'll see that I did a video talking about women's bios. It's an hour-long video talking about women bashing men. Talk about look at me and then look at you and then make sure it makes sense before you even try to talk to me. There was another video a woman did that said she's offended when ugly men approach her because is she ugly? And before you approach her, make sure that you look good and that you fit in her category. And these women are really thinking that we're just ugly. We're ugly guys, and that they're offended when even if we don't look like Al B. Short or Christopher Williams, they're offended. And so sometimes that's the hesitation of why men don't want to approach, because it's like, am I going to get fussed at, or am I going to be viewed as a creep? We're getting tired of getting rejected. And trust me, I'm built for rejection. I've been gotten rejection since I was in high school. So, you know, but at this point in time, it's just kind of like, really, please? I mean, we're 40 years of age and I got women still, and not only are they rejecting you, but they're doing it in a nasty way. Like, you just really look hideous. So, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is because they can down us, and, you know, they talk about our hairlines, or lack thereof, especially when you're older. I'm speaking specifically to older guys. When you're older, your metabolism slows down. It's harder for you to stay. You're not going to have, not to say you're not, because Sylvester Stallone can do it, Arnold Schwarzenegger can do it. You know, there's a lot of men that can keep their physiques in older ages. You see a lot of YouTube videos of older guys, 60 and 70, with, you know, great physiques. But those are, you know, few and far between. These women are just dogging men for just not being in tip-top, being virile and looking the part of a Nubian god, just a Zulu warrior. But however, with them, they just say, they don't put in like the lifestyle changes. They just say, they're taking the white girl out. And like I said, black women have become the worst parts of white women. They've taken on the worst characteristics of white women. What I mean by that is just, you know, just materialistic. Now they're getting into the realms of, you know, all these tattoos. They're getting into the realm of, you know, just bashing their men. And also they're getting into the realm of just saying, okay, well, I'll just Wegovy it away. I gained 80 pounds. I'll just Wegovy it away. Or I'm going to run over to Dominican Republic or Mexico and I'm going to get my teeth done. And then they dog you for having natural teeth that may not be the best. And then they say, well, I'm just going to go ahead and get all my teeth knocked out my mouth and just get veneers put in. Or I'm just going to go get my breasts done. I'm going to get my butt done. I'm going to get my waist, my ab, you know, my lipo done. And they go and they augment themselves and they think that this is natural, and they don't have they don't see the spirituality in this. And what I mean by that is they don't see that, you know, they're destroying what God has done, and they're just using, you know, these man-made procedures to make themselves look something that they're not. But then they'll turn around and then they'll dog us for being in our natural state. So I think that was a very thing that she hit on. She didn't comment on, she just made it as a comment. But let me just get back to the other portion. She says women have zero incentive to be fit, feminine, and friendly because the man can't last more than 5 minutes. Now, she's making this comment. I think that she's not saying this from her perspective. She's saying that, I guess this is what she's gleaning from other women. This is what she's discerning from other women, that they're like, man, my man can't even last 5 minutes. He can't blow my back out, and he ain't giving me a good thrill in the bedroom. So why should I get fit, feminine, and friendly? And, you know, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with her on this. I'm just basically saying this, bringing this up to say again, like I brought up the point about the cosmetics. This is just my observation from my side. These women have just become nasty, and what I mean by nasty, I mean perverted nasty, R. Kelly nasty. You know, they demonize men for being creepy and sex fiends or whatever they want to say that we were. But when you listen to a woman, all she's talking about is doing something, like she's just putting her business out in the street. Like, I want to hear a woman talk like this. You know, they're talking they're saying the nastiest of things out of their mouth. Yeah, I want a man that can do this. Yeah, I want to be in a gangbang and all this. And, you know, I want to get a train. They're talking about train. They're talking about, you know, all of this, you know, this squirting and stuff. I don't even know if I can say it, but I hope I can. But they're saying all of this stuff, like really, like, do we want to hear all of this stuff? And they're talking about BD energy, and they want a man that's this big, and he got to do this and he got to do that. And it's like, I don't want to hear all of that. We can have those private conversations once we get to know each other. But in this situation too, if a woman is just saying, well, my man he's not satisfying me, so I'm not going to, be the best I can be. I'm not going to get in my best shape. I'm not going to be cooperative with them or friendly towards them. And, I'm definitely not going to be friendly. And I'm going to be aggressive. I'm not going to be feminine. I'm just going to be aggressive out in these streets or whatever. And so it's just a matter of, like, somebody has to at least try. And even if you don't want to do it for your man, but if your man isn't worth it, if that's what you're basing your relationship on, and that's all you want is just to get blowed out all day long, maybe it's these women. Maybe it's y'all. I mean, if that's what your life is built on. But that was just the point that she made. She made the point. I didn't make it. But if that's all you want is more than a 5-minute thrill in order to change your life and get in shape and be nice and be a lady, I don't know. So let's move on. Let's get into the next clip you're going to hear. She's talking about, just independence. And, this is the subject. So let's listen to what she has to say.
I make my own money. I have my education. I have my car. I have everything that I need. Don't need to be married. So when a woman is outperforming a man in status, she has no incentive. And she's able to pick who she wants. She has a bigger pool of people to pick from. This is young adults. Okay. Now the same woman that has been very selective in her younger years ends up having some terrible relationships, ends up getting divorced, ends up, being unhappy, unfulfilled, because it was basically just status was important. But as you get older, other things become important, like somebody's character, how somebody treats you, how they respond to you, if they love you, unconditionally love you. So as we get older, and then that's when the good guy will say, hey, you should have picked me when you were young, when I was looking for you. Now you got all these children and this emotional baggage. And so it's usually later. So young adults may have a harder time, but when you get older, then the pool starts to expand for men.
Okay, so you heard her. She's saying that, women are coming from the perspective of, I have my own money, my own car, my own resources, basically, and I'm educated. So I don't need a man. Her options. So on this portion, I'm not going to get into her options because that was the other part. But on this point, I typically agree with her. I think that is the mindset that women are saying. And I've been saying this all along as well. Women do not need a man. Like provision, protection, and pleasure. That's really, they only need 3 things out of that. They're looking for a man to provide, protect, and to please for pleasure. They don't need provision from us. They have everything. They have their own, they go to the gun range, they have their own guns. These women are masculine and aggressive. They are very, very capable. These women, you saw there was a shooting in Atlanta where the 2 girls were shooting in the hallway at the other 2 girls. So these women are out here, they're ready. And I'm telling you, you go to the gun stores, you'll see them in there going in there trying to go to the range because it's fun. These women out here are ready. So they don't need your protection. They don't need your provision because they make more money than you, or just as much, and they're just as smart as you, just like she's saying. So the only thing they're looking for really is pleasure. And so that's why I say when you see 60%, because this is a thing that she didn't discuss. If 60% of women are in a relationship, and trust me, there are more women, let's just look at it from a United States perspective. But even throughout the world, there are more women on the planet than there are men. In America, there are more women than there are men. I do believe that's a fact. If there are 60% of women in relationships and only 30% of men are, some women are in poly relationships. They may know it, they may not know it. Some women know it, but they don't want to know it, right? It's kind of like, I know my man's cheating, but I'm gonna look the other way. As long as I don't see it and he don't bring me home anything and he don't bring a baby through the front door, I'm fine. But these women are sharing men. They're in poly relationships. So like I said, Al B. Sure and Christopher Williams all have 5 and 6 women. That's what they're doing. All of them are going towards Al B. Sure and Christopher Williams. When you go on the dating sites, they'll even tell you, they'll say the top 10% of men, the best 10%, that few good looking men, Lance Gross, Al B. Sure, Christopher Williams, Shamar Moore, Idris Elba. Those guys are getting all of the hits. They're getting all of the likes. They don't have to work. Well, the rest of us, we're not getting any likes. And I can speak from a fact on that. I may get 1 like a month, 1. And some of those women like 60, 65. And you just kind of like, man, really? Wow. You're like, man, dang, maybe I am ugly. But most of these women are not like, you can like them. They're not getting at you. Online dating is horrible. I can tell y'all the whole story of online dating. But even in these streets, so if 60% of women are in relationships and only 30% of men are, they're sharing men. And the reason why I'm bringing that up in this point, because when women are independent, if they don't need you to live with them. Matter of fact, they probably don't even want you to. You hear about that's the new trend nowadays, living together apart. Men they're going back to having their own. Remember, like back when you used to watch TV with Ricky Ricardo and him and Lucy sleeping in different beds, Fred Flintstone and Wilma sleeping in different beds because they couldn't show it on television. Then we're really going back to that. Women they only want you in their bed when it's time for them to get pleased. When they want their back blown out, because that's all they want to do is lay on their back and get it blown out all day long. That's all they want. All they want. Because that's all you hear them talk about is sex, 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 sex. And they ain't even saying sex. They talking the F word. They talking as raunchy and as vulgar as men. But they don't need you for resources or anything else. So if they're going to have sex and the woman just sit up top, the man can't last for 5 minutes. She looking for a guy. That's when people start talking about the Pookies and Ray Ray. I hate those terms too. I hate Brad and Chad and Pookie and Ray. I hate those terms, but it fits here, so I'm going to use it. All they looking for is these thug-delicious dudes to come through because they know they're going to give them that BD energy, and I hate that term too. They're going to come through and they're going to have all-night sex sessions. They're going to have adult acting type sessions that you see on television, that you see on them certain video channels. They're going to have those type sessions. So these women are chasing after, they're not looking for the corporate guy to do it because he's too lame and too much of a square and they don't think he can put it down and get as freaky as the thug dude. So they looking for a guy that's going to come through and spend 40 minutes working and twerking inside of their box and give it and please them. And the guy's also aesthetically pleasing. He got Tupac type abs and he's just a good looking guy. They don't want, so if she's got everything else, she don't want to be laid up with some ugly dude. So she's looking for a good looking guy to come through. So that's the first part. So I agree with her on that. Where I differ with her is that when she says that women have options, their options have increased because of their status. And no, it has not. Their options actually decrease because, again, the term I hate to use, but it's a true statement, is hypergamy. Once a woman climbs higher and higher and higher on the ladder, her options get smaller because a woman is not dating down. See, a man's options really don't change. He goes up the ladder, he will hit anything. He will hit whatever. He will hit his boss if he has to, and he'll make it work. If she going, as long as she going to submit to him and treat him right and not disrespect him, he don't mind if she makes more money for the most part. He'll be like, all right, I'm fine. As long as I'm the boss and I get to do the lead and stuff. Like, he really doesn't care. And some men don't even want to lead and be the boss. Some men are just like, it's whatever. As long as we good and work and we can cooperate together, we good. His options don't change. And just like if you ever seen the movie Pretty Woman, you'll see that too. You'll see a corporate guy get him a a flimsy stripper or escort, take her off the street. He'll turn into a housewife. He don't care. He don't care. As long as he can bring her around his family and she can interact. That's the only thing guys care about is, we care that, a woman is going to support us and, admire us and look up to, think that we showing them something new, but they also care that are you sociable? Can they bring you around their family and friends and you not embarrass them? And just like with Richard Gere, he sported and he married her in the movie. But it's a true story, though. That's a true statement. Guys, we don't care how much you make. We don't care about most of that stuff. The only thing we care about, can we bring you around people? And are you not going to just talk, just badger us to death about, just kind of just be combative with us, as long as those other things fall. So our options don't change. A woman's options always change, because as she goes higher and higher up the ladder, the only person she can sleep with, if she's now vice president, the only person she can marry is another vice president or president or CEO. Because she's not going to go down. And if she tries to go down, she'll do it temporarily and be like, I'll never do that again because he don't respect this. And then it's going to turn into a bunch of stuff about what he don't do and what he can't live with, and how he resents her. And it's going to turn into a bunch of that. So I disagree with her on her options increases. The only thing that increases is her boy toys. She can be like Cher, just have a whole bunch of boy toys. But as soon as that boy toy, he's eventually going to leave because he's going to get tired of being bossed around and being a boy toy. And then the other part that she says is that she says older women start to value character and other intangibles over status. Now, this is where I definitely disagree with her on, because trust me, I'm in my early 40s. And I can tell you this, like I said, I got a little bit of a stomach. It's big enough. My stomach is big enough. It's not huge, but it's big enough. It's not like flat. But women, I'm telling you, they will, trust me, go look at my other video that I just did where I'm talking about the dating app bios. These women are in their 40s and 50s saying they want a man. If you got a big stomach, if you look like you pregnant, don't talk to them. If you look this way, don't talk to them. These women, as they get older, they're getting more. These women are just sexually hyper. These women are hypersexual, almost to the point where they're nymphomaniacs. Almost to the point of, and they probably are. Because when you listen to these older 40 and 50-year-old women talk, all they say is they're in their, as Nas said in his song, they're in their second childhood. Because all you hear them say is, my kids are grown, I want to have fun. I want to have fun. I want to have fun. He got to have BD energy, and you got to be 6'2", and your body got to be right. And these are coming from women that are chunky. But they feel as though just because they have curves, because their behind is bigger than their stomach and their breasts are bigger than their stomach, that they're curvy. They always glamorize themselves. No, I'm not fat, I'm curvy. I'm not fat, I'm thick. I'm a Houston thick. They think they always glamorize themselves, and they put us down for being who we are. So I totally disagree with her on this, because these women in their 40s, when they get older, they're not looking for character. The only woman that's probably looking for character, and I say probably, is a woman who's desperate, that's probably still has younger kids that she's trying to take care of. Or she's squandered her life and she has nothing, and she's looking for an inheritance that she can come up on. She's looking for a nest egg. She's looking for some older man that's going to die, and then she can just take his money. Seriously. So this is where I disagree with her on that. So now just the other part. The other part to this is she talks about friendships. So let's listen to what she has to say in regards to friendships.
But I don't think people really talk about the importance of building friendships. I think men should have women friends, and male and female friends. And women should have male and female friends. I can pick up the phone and call married, single, divorced, male and female friends on my phone that I've known since school or, church. And I can ask them, hey, I'm talking to this person. This is kind of what's going on. Oh, no, you watch out for this, or ask them this. You know, I have people that, you know, care about me. They're not in this whole bubble of they hate women or hate men. But really people that genuinely still respect each other. So you need to, you know, have healthy friendships, healthy relationships. And you may be asking, how do I get that? Find a hobby. I just even told my daughter, I said, find a hobby. She's like, I want to meet new friends. She's getting ready to start high school. I said, you have to meet people based on your interests. So we're stuck in this, you know, social media is making us even more primitive and more judgmental. But if you get into the real world and you start doing something that you actually enjoy, like even if it's picking up a foreign language, you're going to meet somebody else that shares a similar interest, and you'll be able to build some friendships. And from those friendships, you can develop relationships.
So here, this whole section right here, I definitely agree with her on. I agree with her wholeheartedly on this. As you stated, she has support groups. She uses her friends, her male and female friends, for support groups and for consultation, because you can get different perspectives from different genders. And I definitely agree with that. Although I will say this, the one caveat that I had some real crappy female friends, because really they don't want to hear your problems. Females just don't. They don't want to hear a man whine about problems. Eventually they're going to tell you, just like they're going to tell you to man up, get over, they're going to stop calling you. Trust me, it's happened to me. When I went through my worst periods of my life and my relationship, they stopped calling. Seriously. But they can tell you about their problems all day long, and they can call you. Women love to use you, even your female friends. But the other thing that I agree with her on too is get hobbies and meet people that share your same interests. It's very important, because those are the people that, you know, especially when you're in your 40s, that's how you're going to meet people. That's exactly how you're going to meet people. It's going to be through, you know, when you were young, you met people by going hanging out at the mall. You were on your college campus, or you was in your high school hallway, in the cafeteria. That's how you met people. When you get older, you just go to work, you come home. You go to work, you come home. And then in between that, you're going to the grocery store, you're going to the mall to buy some clothes. And a lot of people just doing all that stuff, shopping online. So a lot of people aren't even getting out. So when you're older, you become awkward. You don't know how to mingle. So if you don't have any friends, and you don't, and you're not have any hobbies or anything that you're into, you're not going to get out and meet people. And this is especially good for guys, and I would say average guys such as myself, because I will admit I'm an average guy. I'm average looking. I wasn't born or blessed with great looks. I'm an average looking guy, definitely above or under average looking body, which I'm working on right now. And you know, because a lot of times the best way, like even when I was younger, you know, a lot of women, and I'm talking about pretty women, and I've actually dated a lot of beautiful women. I've actually dated a lot of good looking women. They gravitated towards me because they knew me. Like when they saw me, they saw my aura. A lot of girls, and you know, a lot of girls thought I was from certain areas that was considered cool. You know, they would come up to me and ask me, "Are you from so and so?" And you know, especially when I was in college. But you know, and then girls would just gravitate towards me for, you know, I guess because when I'm in person, my personality can shine over my looks. You know, that was how I got over. It's, you know, you're not going to look at me and instantly be blown away. At least I don't think. But I've had a few girls, and especially in high school and in college, that, you know, really liked me. And maybe it was because of my look, especially in elementary school, because I had a girl that used to walk me home every day. She was very pretty too, very pretty. But maybe my school wasn't much to offer, I don't know. But you know, my personality I think helps me shine, and just being out in public, because I think I have a different aura. You can look at somebody. So I think for guys, definitely get off the apps and get out in public, because that helps. Even though it's hard to find women out in public, I'm gonna be honest with you on that. So that's definitely something that I definitely agree with, and especially if you find an activity that you like and you know she's into, then you're already off to a great start. The final thing I want to talk to about is she made a comment about passport bros. And so I want y'all to listen to this, and then I'll come back and provide my thoughts.
You know, passport bros is a thing. You know, men are like, well, you know, we just grab your passport, bro. We can find somebody else in another country to have sex with, but you still come back here single.
Okay, so you heard what she said about passport bros, and again, what I heard her say is, the guys are going overseas to find someone to sleep with, but coming back to, she specifically said America, but coming back to wherever country they're from, single. And she was kind of saying it in a negative way, like, this is a frowned upon practice for someone to do this. And she has that right to think that, but I just want to provide to her a male perspective on why guys are doing it. And again, I'm not a passport bro. I have a passport, but I'm a person that, if I travel, I don't like to travel a lot. And when I do, I'm not going to travel just to be going overseas just to hook up with some girl. But what I'm going to say is this. The thing that she's missing, and when I say she, I'm talking about Helena, the point that you're missing, Helena, and I hope that you're watching this video, Helena, the point that you're missing is this. When a person is lonely, you will do desperate things for companionship. You will do extreme things for companionship. So let me put it to her, for example. When you see men locked up in prison, you're going to see some heterosexual men do some very homosexual things in prison. Now, I'm not trying to say all of them do it, but some people do. If you put a man in solitary confinement, that man will go crazy. Human beings, for an average, human beings were built for companionship, to be with other people. Most creatures on this planet desire that. There's not a creature walking planet Earth that really just says, I want to be by myself. I mean, maybe a spider, if you see a spider in a spider web, because they're very territorial. But even occasionally a spider says, I got to mate. I got to do. And for human beings, we are built for companionship. The only rare human being that you can say wasn't built for companionship was the Unabomber, the one that lived in the woods and was blowing up people's mailboxes. He was the only person that said, I can't stand people, I guess, because he said, I'm going to live in the woods. Even if you just want to say, I just want one person in my life. Most people, they move to rural areas, but they're not moving by themselves. They're like, hey, I'm going to at least see somebody. So for her, what she's missing is that women always have companionship. Women keep their sisterhoods together. Men are lone wolves. Look at a man when he gets married. He doesn't hang out as much as you don't see a lot of those men hanging out. Those men are in the house, hanging out in the house with their family, or just hanging out in the house in the basement, wanting to be, his wish for his birthday is to be left alone. Because he has everything he needs. He has his wife, he has his kids. That's what he wants. Men are just like that. Women are like, we have a sorority, we have our pact, and women are going to say, we're going to go to brunch, because women are they're just built like that, which I think is a beautiful thing. But men aren't built like that. So women keep their pact together. Men don't. A lot of men don't. And then the other thing too is that men we can't just walk outside and magically fall into some, we can't magically fall into some pleasure. Not most men. Maybe, once again, maybe Albie Shore, Shemar Moore, Christopher Williams, Lance Gross, those special type of dudes, they can do that. Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, those guys can. But the average man cannot walk outside of his door. I don't care how he can look his best. He can put on the best clothes on planet Earth. And if he walks outside of his door, because trust me, I've done it on several occasions. You walk the streets from sun up to sundown and say, I'm just going to be outside so people can see me, boom, boom, boom. When you are invisible to women, you are invisible to women. But a woman, no matter how big she is, no matter how short she is, no matter how tall she is, the average woman can walk out of the door and a guy is going to make a pass at her. For the most part. Now, there are some women who are invisible to men, there are. But for the most part, if a woman is decent, she's going to get hit on. If a woman is in her 40s and is a little chunky, a man gonna be like, oh man, she in her 40s, man. Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong. It's just like how Cat Williams said in his special. Cat Williams said, I don't care how you got them stretch marks. Either you was big and got small, or you was small and got big. Either way, we doing something. And that is so true. A woman can always fall into something. She may not like the man that she's about to do with. She may be like, oh my God, I keep getting hit on these type of guys. But if she's just bored and wants something to do and just be like, I just want to hang out, she can pick up a Rolodex and call somebody, and somebody's going to be willing to take her out. It may not be to where she wants to go, and she may not totally enjoy the company, but she can get out the house. She can get a free meal. Guys can't do that. And so I'm basically saying this long story short is that when a guy has become invisible to the women in his own country, and trust me, I've tried this. I've said, okay, I've tried my local area, and I've literally been like going on the internet and going and viewing every single website on the internet. I have been on I've been on multiple dating apps, at least 5 or 6. And when you can't even get the women in your area to like you, or in the few that do like you, just go out with you one time and then never call you. Or, they just go out for a meal and then you never hear from them again. And you've exhausted those options. Then you say, okay, well, dang, well, let me try 4 hours away. Let me try 6 hours away. Man, I'm going to have to fly these girls in. You're just, at this point, you're looking for love. You're looking for companionship. And if you can't get it there, then the next option is to say, well, the women in my country are just, this, that, and the third. So I have to go overseas. I've tried, I've exhausted my options. So now I have to go overseas. And even if it is just for some, sexual companionship, then that's what I have to do. And maybe it may turn into a meaningful relationship. We'll call each other on the phone or get on the internet. We'll do WhatsApp. We'll do something. And then I'll keep going back and forth because I had the financial means to go back and forth and see her. And it may turn into a relationship. You see it on 90 Day Fiance. White guys have been doing it since the time before forever. They've been doing mail order brides from Eastern Europe since forever. So that's what she's missing. She's looking at it as, oh, well, you're going overseas just to have, sex. And it may be true, but to be honest with you, a man needs companionship. A woman needs companionship. And I would challenge Helena to try it. Try sitting in the house as a woman. Just sit in your house. If your phone rings, don't have your phone ringing. Don't answer it. Don't talk to your girlfriends to kill time. Just sit, because we don't sit in the house and talk to each other like, what you doing, bruh? Hey, bruh, I'm watching TV. And you don't sit in the house and just hold conversations all day long on your phone. Women will do that. Women talk all day long on their phone. They keep their companionship going. And if they're not going to talk to them, then they'll call some guy up and just to hear them talk, because women just want to hear talking and be entertained. But a guy, we have to work hard. And when you have reached the point that we are in America where the women's expectations are very high and you're not even an option, they have to go out and do something else. Because at this point, it's desperation. At this point, these guys are backed up. They're sexually frustrated, emotionally drained from dealing with the women that they've been dealing with. And they just need companionship. They just need somebody that's going to tell them, that even if it's a lie, but they just want to hear somebody say, you're worth my time. You're worth being with. And women don't understand that. They don't get that because they get hit on 20 times a day. That's when you can tell that you are, how people can tell that they are privileged in certain areas is this. If you're financially privileged, like you just have a whole bunch of money, those people you'll see, they abuse money sometimes, right? You see all of the rappers do it. They just buy excessive stuff. They treat money like it's nothing. And I'm not trying to say all rich people do that, but I'm just using that as an example. When you see, like if a guy were to walk down the street and a woman stopped him on the street and said, you are very handsome, that guy would blush from ear to ear And he would probably talk about that for weeks. Like, yeah, this girl stopped me on the street. She stopped me and said I was handsome. He would talk about it for weeks because we don't get that. But see, a woman, she takes compliments for granted because she gets compliments all the time. You see it all the time. Women say, don't call me saying good morning, beautiful. If you tell me I'm beautiful, if you call me sexy, I'm going to block you because I don't want to. And I have a female friend. She said it too. She said, man, I'm tired of guys telling me I'm pretty. They don't want to hear that. But that's why you know that you're pretty, because people tell you you're pretty all the time. And so women, they take for granted getting hit on. Hey, how you doing? Can I get your number? No, because they hear it all the time. They know that they can get a number anytime. But I guarantee you, if you stop giving women attention and we stop speaking to y'all, stop even looking at y'all, and we just walk by y'all and just say, excuse me, and just kept it moving because you was just an obstacle in my way, or we just said, can you move please? And we started treating y'all in a particular way and stopped giving you attention. The moment you get a compliment, you would be like, man, I'm so glad I haven't had a compliment in years. You would feel that way. And that's the way we feel. So that's why I totally disagree with her on the Passport Bros comment. And I know I've just gone on and on about this one, but I just want her to understand where the guys are coming from. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but this is the Political Brown Kid. I hope you enjoyed this. And again, go check out Helena Pascal. You can hear her full conversation. If you think I've taken anything out of context here with the editing, you can view her content on her page. And if you have any comments to anything I said, just drop them down in the comments section. But this is the Political Brown Kid. Take care.